welcome everybody. Thanks for coming along to the Zoom around the world. This is the Fully Alive Qigong. So last night I started with a pause lesson. So that was good. We did some yoga and Qigong, and then I woke up this morning for some more yoga in China. That was fantastic. And then since then, a few more hours of yoga, and we're back to Qigong again. So we did a little bit of yoga and Qigong at the start of this, and now we're back to Qigong, particularly the skill in using energy. So when we were chatting with Paul about embodying ease, Barry and I were chatting about what sort of Qigong to do to be part of embodying ease. And as we were chatting, we discussed that really starting right at the beginning is the best place to start in Qigong anyway. So whether or not you're advanced in Qigong or a beginner in Qigong, it's always good to come back right to the beginning. And we had a chat about, well, what was the thing about Qigong that particularly attracted us and really sort of captured our interest and imagination and curiosity as well. And we started our Qigong with this particular school we were with about 20 years ago with our Grandmaster. And when we walked into this room, this small Chinese man just beamed this great big smile. He beamed this great big smile. And from there really was the start of the Qigong. It's, just relax and let go. As our Sifu does. And there's a few people on here that train with our Sifu. And they know how infectious that is. And we went away and started practicing the Qigong in a way to embody that ease and also to unwrap it a little bit. Say, well, what really went on there? We were having an energy flow, things were shifting and changing for us. And about 10 years later, Barry, myself, and our friend Mark, we started Fully Alive, and we were in a chat about, well, what was it that really went on there? You know, he gave us some instructions around the Qigong and a way to be able to let go at a level where energy could flow, because Qigong is about generating a smooth flow of energy. You have the form, you have the mind, you have the breath, and there's relaxation in there and there's letting go. But we started to look at it and say, well, really, sort of the essence of what we were learning was what we came to understand as the absence of unnecessary tension. So the absence of unnecessary tension also becomes part of the absence of unnecessary efforting. And really a smooth flow of energy is the absence of unnecessary anything. So if there's an absence of anything that's getting in the way of that smooth flow of energy, then energy will naturally flow more smoothly. And that's what we want to introduce. It's a very simple and basic practice, but we're going to go through the steps. So at the end of this hour, if you haven't practiced with us before, you've got a nice, simple Qigong integrating with your yoga work, your Qigong work, your movement work, your breath work. Whatever it is that you do, you can start to bring this in. This is something that Paul's brought into a lot of his own work, is the beauty of not really doing much. It doesn't sound much when we're doing a wuji, standing upright and relaxing. And this is going to be part of our introduction for you for the absence of unnecessary tension, leading through to how to generate a gentle energy flow and then come to stillness. But we're going to talk you through all these steps. You won't have to remember anything now. There's no level of fitness that is required in order to do Qigong, but it is recommended that you take the things very gently and kindly. Don't try and push yourself too far with anything or go too deeply. In fact, if you are already skilled at Qigong and you know how to generate an energy flow, you know how to go into a deep Qigong state of mind, our suggestion for today is imagine you've come to this absolutely as a beginner, brand new. Yeah. So rather than go into a deep Qigong state of mind, deep Qi flow, take yourself through the steps that we do, and you might find there's something in there for you as well in terms of a new discovery, some new interest within yourself. So take yourself gently, progressively through. If you're new to Qigong, then you get an opportunity to enter a Qigong state of mind and then maybe feel some energy flowing through your body as well. It's the skill in using energy with the absence of unnecessary tension. When we talk about the absence of unnecessary tension and efforting, we're talking about not using tension that's not required or efforting that's not required. And something that came out of one of the lessons spontaneously just a few weeks ago, actually, when Barry and I were teaching, was a very simple exercise to demonstrate this. So if you bring your hands together, so you bring your fingers together, your palms together, and from your palms together and your fingers together, just see if there's another level of relaxation that's available to you at the moment in terms of your structure of your hands and your arms, and maybe even your body as well. Just see if there's any level of relaxation that's available to you. And if there is, if you're able to relax just a little bit more, it means that there was already unnecessary tension within a simple action of bringing the hands together. And relaxing with your arms is different to collapsing with your arms. If you just collapse your arms a second, so it becomes a bit more like a wet noodle. Yeah. So if you're doing a bit like hands together but wet noodling, that's not the level of Qigong that we want to work at. We don't want to work at a wet noodle. But if you have your hands together and you hold them tight, and that's a lot of muscular effort, not just in your hands, but in your arms as well, we're not looking to work with our Qigong at that level either. So when we come to talk through the different steps, it's more like hands gently close together, but without the efforting. So just have them apart again and then bring them together again and see if they can just rest gently next to each other, but without efforting in the muscles in the arms, the elbows, the shoulders, or the chest. Manal was doing some lovely work earlier on around paying attention to your elbows, something that Manal has found in her work that people don't really pay much attention to the work on the elbows. And it's interesting in Qigong because whenever we're doing movements, we're always moving the elbows and the shoulders, but often when people tense here, they're tensing in their elbows. Well, any unnecessary tension in your body means that you're going to impede that smooth flow of energy. So you're going to interrupt that smooth flow of energy. We want to help generate a smooth flow of energy so that you can feel that energy flowing through your body maybe. And if you can feel that energy flowing through your body, that's fine. But if today's lesson, because it's only a short lesson, you don't feel any energy flowing through the body, that doesn't matter either. Then the main point of today's lesson is to introduce you to the absence of unnecessary tension and efforting so that it can help you move towards that smooth flow of energy. We will do a Qigong pattern, but Barry and I like to work with different ad hoc exercises that help you discover ways of relaxing the body, relaxing emotionally, and relaxing mentally as well. And then by doing that, you naturally come to a Qigong state of mind, which is what we'll talk you through as well. So you just come up into the standing position for the moment. And this time in the standing position, just clench your fists. Clench your fists so you're squeezing your fists together. And now gently, as you're squeezing your fists together, very gently unfurl them, but not letting the fingers separate. So just gently unfurl them as if you want to release something out of a very small gap between your fingers and your thumb. And then feel what it feels like if you gently and slowly squeeze them again, squeezing from the fists into the forearms, into the arms, and maybe even into the body as well. You feel that level of tension that you're holding, and it requires quite a lot of effort to hold that tension for any particular length of time. So our natural response to holding tension is to just gently release it. And this time, let the fingers just gently open. As the fingers gently open, start to splay the fingers gently apart, but feel what it feels like if you were using some muscular effort and tendon effort in splaying them apart. And now allow the fingers still to be apart, but soften them. Our Sifu used to say, have your hands like tigers, not like prawns. So if they're curled and furled together like this, he would refer to that as being like prawns. So he said, don't have your hands like prawns, have them just gently open so that the body is alert, but it's not tense. So we're very much in the here and now in our practice, very present, but relaxed, gently relaxed as well. So feel what that feels like again. Bring the fists, slowly and gently tightening them, and then relaxing the fists, opening the fingers, good, and then having them just gently apart, but without any tension in the arms here. And you might feel or have some sensations in the arms, depending on your muscular tension, but you're not tensing. So there's a difference between holding tension, as in there is tension present in your body, just as you are, and tensing. So we don't want to be tensing. And then go from that tensing just to collapsing, just so that you can feel at the moment what collapsing feels like. So if you go from tensing to collapsing, and from collapsing just to a bit of tensing. So you're upright, but you're quite purposely upright, more like a soldier would be upright. So there's this uprighting and then this collapsing. So just go from that, not making lots of tension, because otherwise this is going to really sort of tire you out, but just what it feels like tensing to collapsing. And in the Wuji stance, which we'll go into in a moment, we're somewhere between these two states. Between these two states is a state of relaxing and letting go at the same time. The relaxing means that the arms are gently at the sides of your body and the fingers will gently be at the sides of the legs. The hands are at the sides of the legs here, but just away from the body. So just feel what that feels like first of all. Okay, so we're going to go into a Wuji stance now and go through like a pilot's checklist for you. If the feet in the Wuji stance are about a fist width apart and the feet are parallel, when your feet are parallel, just shift the weight so it's over the whole of your feet. Just feel what that feels like first of all, to have the weight over the whole of your feet. So if you're gently rocking backwards and forwards first of all, you can get a sense of what it feels like to use muscular effort in order to hold yourself from falling backwards, and the muscular effort that's required to stop yourself from falling forward. So now just come back to this Wuji stance where the feet are parallel, about a fist width apart, and the weight over the whole of the feet. And then just make sure your knees aren't jammed back. Now, you know if your knees are jammed back if they don't go back any further. So if you push your knees back, just so you know what jammed back feels like, but when you jam your knees back, you jam your joints and you also impede that energy flow that's going down through the body and through the legs. So just take your knees off lock. And when we take the knees off lock, and we used to say to people, just relax your knees, but what used to happen is we said, relax your knees, and people would do this. Yeah? And that would make lots of effort in your thighs, and it's quite hard to be relaxed when you're holding all this weight into your thighs. So the language seemed to be better by not having your knees jammed back. So by not having your knees jammed back, it means then your weight can be evenly distributed over your legs, more simply, without locking any of your joints down. So none of the joints are locked. And then just relax your waist a second. So just give your waist a little move around so you can feel what it feels like, not to hold yourself in this position. Sometimes, because of different practices, people are used to rolling the sits bone, the coccyx, underneath and they hold this position. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. But in this, we want to have the absence of unnecessary tension and also the absence of unnecessary efforting. So by rolling the sits bone or the coccyx under, then that starts to make some muscular tension at the front in the quad. So just feel what that feels like just to release that. But as we release that, that's different than having the bottom stuck out. Yeah, so if you stick your bottom out at the moment, we can't see everybody, so it doesn't really matter. So if you stick your bottom out, that's a little bit different, and you find that the body starts to come forward, and this puts quite a lot of effort on the chest and the lower back. And because we're working towards the absence of unnecessary tension here, physically first of all, you just want to feel what it feels like in the body to have it more neutrally stacked, so that you've got that sense of ease without efforting. The other place that often we make lots of efforting in is around the stomach area. If we're sitting down for long periods of time, then the stomach starts to collapse a little bit. And you can feel what that feels like if your thumbs are on your ribs and your fingers are down towards your hips. And even just a small amount of movement of collapse in the stomach, you feel how the abdominal area starts to collapse in its own structure. Well, at the same time, all your organs are starting to collapse. And again, that would make efforting, unnecessary efforting for your organs and your muscles, which would actually not help your energy flow smoothly. So to help the energy flow smoothly, this area is just opened up. But this is very different than coming upright and puffing up the chest and opening up this area with extreme tension. So just feel what that feels like as you try and open this area up. And you probably notice that you've got quite a lot of efforting now in your back and your chest. So to hold this position would be quite challenging for a period of time. So just come back to that place between collapse, holding yourself, and just breathing out and relaxing into this feeling of unnecessary tension and unnecessary efforting. So let me bring you to the chest and the shoulders and the arms now, because the invitation was to have the arms at the sides of the body. By default, lots of people's arms tend to fall round to the pockets, like going for the guns. And when we do this, it starts to make a little bit of efforting around the shoulders and sometimes rounding of the chest as well. So to bring the hands back to the sides of the body, sometimes, not always, but sometimes we see people doing this. They bring the shoulders back. So you can just feel what that feels like. If you bring your shoulders back to try and open the chest and bring the arms down, already my voice changes because there's quite a lot of tension here. And with the absence of unnecessary tension, it's more like this, that you see my shoulders are in line with my legs, but my hands aren't. But I just bring my hands around. So my scapula, and the upper back and the chest doesn't really move. You see, it's just the arms. So it's such a little simple movement, just the arms to the sides. Just feel what that feels like. Become aware of your hands, and rather than move from your shoulders, just move from your hands. Feel the difference between just moving from hands like this, moving from hands, and then if you were trying to move from your whole of your arms, almost like you're trying to push something back, if you're pushing something back with the arms, that's quite a lot of effort. And now notice what that feels like if you try and bring your shoulders back, arms and then hands, and then hold that position. Even within a few seconds, I start to notice the tensions down my back. You might notice that for yourself, depending on how you're holding yourself. So from this collapsed position, so just go into a bit more of a collapsed position, to gently unfurling. So there's that lovely soft space between stomach, hips and ribs. And that lovely soft space as the arms come to the sides of the body. And you've got that little bit of space between the arms and the body, but not by carrying carrier bags. Because if you're carrying carrier bags as you do this, you end up getting some unnecessary tension in your arms. Might seem like we're going into quite a lot of detail about this position, but Wu Ji is both the beginner's practice and the most advanced practice. So if you get Wu Ji really good, and you can get to work with an absence of unnecessary tension and efforting right from the beginning, everything you do in your Qigong practice, and other stuff that you do as well, will be much easier, and you're also going to promote a smoother flow of energy. And that's what we want to help you with today, is helping promote that smooth flow of energy, because it's that smooth flow of energy that can lead to positive health outcomes, and also help us release or overcome health issues as well. That's generally what the Qigong at the beginning level is there for, is to help improve our health and overcome or release or improve any health conditions, and then improve our health and vitality. So just feel what that feels like now. If you close your eyes and just get a sense of the feeling of having your arms gently relaxed to the sides of your body, with your hands gently at the sides of the legs, and the middle finger roughly is where the seams of the trousers would be in terms of alignment. Fingers are gently pointing down towards the ground, but without any efforting. As Rachel was talking about as well, creating space within body. And Manal was talking about space. All of the practices that we've been doing so far would all help you with your Qigong practice as well, in terms of letting go of held tensions, creating more space in the body, more fluidity and flow, and the absence of unnecessary tension. The movements that Linda was doing from our center, really helpful in terms of your proprioception and interoception, knowing where you are, rather than coming from a place of tension. We come from a place of ease, so that as we start to feel what it feels like to embody that ease, we realize that it isn't through efforting, but it's actually through non-efforting. It's not about learning necessarily anything new, but about unlearning the things that have created the tensions in the first place. Kind of letting go and releasing those things that create those tensions in the first place. So just by standing there at the moment, with your eyes gently closed and just being aware of what that feels like, this is already the start of your Qigong practice, which is a Wu Ji stance, standing, uprighting and relaxing, that helps you move more towards then a Qigong state of mind. So just open your eyes for a moment and have a look around. Just get a sense of what that feels like for you, if anything's different or the same. Doesn't matter, we don't have to look for changes to happen. But sometimes it's nice just to get a sense of what that's like for you, having gone from movement to more stillness, which is where we're going to end with in our Qigong practice. We'll start with some sort of moving, adjusting the body, small movements, but it's movement. And then at the end of our Qigong practice, we come to stillnessing. So this sets you up very nicely for that stillnessing. So just move the arms and your legs around. Move your arms and legs around a little bit, however you want to do it, doesn't matter. However you want to move the arms. But do it in a way that you're not tensing your muscles, so that you can move with a little bit more freedom. And then come back to that standing position now that the body's learned how to come into that uprighting position without effort. So rather than think about it, we've gone through the pilot's checklist, I'm sure we'll do that again, but rather than think about how you arrived at that place. Feel what it feels like from that body felt sense of that uprighting where the weight is evenly distributed over the feet, the knees are off lock so they're not jammed, the waist is relaxed, the stomach is relaxed, but you're not collapsing anywhere. The chest is gently open because the hands are at the sides of your legs, but not through efforting. Your fingers are gently pointing down towards the ground because they're not crunched up. And then allow the mouth to be very gently open, not closed, but not open where you're holding your jaw purposely open, but just not closed. In Qigong, with the breathing, we breathe in through our nose and out through the mouth. We come to that. But for now, just let breath happen spontaneously, and the mouth gently open. And that will help relax the muscles in the jaw and the forehead, further aiding and promoting that sense of inner relaxation. And now close your eyes. So have the eyes gently closed. That helps to bring you more internal rather than having to see what's going on. And by the way, you won't have to see anything I'm doing at the moment. You can just hear my voice. And that will be enough to guide you through this next part of the practice, because Qigong, the skill in using energy, is relaxation physically, mentally, and emotionally. Emotionally, our Sifu would say, don't worry about anything. It's not about getting this right or wrong or being a good student or not. It's about your experience and exploration of letting go of unnecessary tension and just getting a sense of what that's like for you here and now. So we don't have to worry about anything. And if any emotions or thoughts or feelings do come up, you don't have to do anything with those. The same with thoughts that think themselves. The brain's always thinking, so you don't have to try and stop the brain from thinking. That would just create more thinking. You just leave the thoughts to do what they do, without having to try and stop them thinking. Instead, you can just notice the body in terms of physical relaxation. So just a reminder again, if you're already skilled at Qigong, you don't need to drop into a deep Qigong state of mind here. In fact, don't drop into a deep Qigong state of mind. Just stay at the physical relaxation level, but without purposely thinking of anything. Without purposely responding to any sensations or feelings that come up, but just notice that they do come up or can come up. Same as those thoughts. Just noticing the body. Now we bring the attention to the breath. Just gently breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Just 3 gentle breaths. In through the nose and out through the mouth. That's the second one. And the third one at your own pace, gently breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Keep your eyes gently closed. And I'm just going to hand over to Barry, but for the moment, just keep your eyes just gently closed.
Good. Well, hopefully you can hear me now. Just enjoy that for a moment, just standing in Wuji. entering a Qigong state of mind. Just enjoy that, just as you listen. So what Tim has taken you through there are the fundamentals of Qigong. What is Qigong? Qigong is skill in using energy. And so the fundamental skill in using energy is to be able to generate an energy flow. It's like the fundamental skill of using a hose, although there may be many things that you want to use the hose for. The fundamental skill is to be able to turn the tap on to get the water flowing. Then you can use it for watering the plants, you can use it for cleaning things down, you can use it for filling up tanks. But you need to be able to get the water flowing to begin with, and it's just the same with Qigong. So the fundamental skill of Qigong is being able to generate an energy flow. And the fundamental techniques in developing that skill are standing in Wuji, for which Tim has given you a pilot's checklist. So standing in Wuji, being gentle, physical, emotional, and mental relaxation, which in Qigong terms is called entering a Qigong state of mind. So while you're there just enjoying that, I'm just going to go through again what entering a Qigong state of mind is. It's just being gentle physical relaxation. So Tim's taken you through a couple of ways of experiencing the absence of unnecessary tension. And that's a skill that we develop gently and gradually. Being able to stand with an increasing absence of unnecessary tension. And then being gentle physical relaxation then is not, once you're in that stance, you're not then deliberately moving any muscles. But equally, as muscular action occurs naturally and spontaneously, you don't try and stop it. So obviously you don't try and stop your lungs, do you? Just carry on naturally and spontaneously. You don't try and stop the heart muscles. They just continue naturally and spontaneously, as do all kinds of other muscular actions, like peristalsis. All those continue to occur. And you may also notice some kind of wobbling about that happens. We call it uprighting. So upright is not a fixed position. It's uprighting. It's constantly, subtly, naturally, and spontaneously adjusting. So just enjoy that. So being gentle physical relaxation is standing in Wuji, neither deliberately moving muscles, nor trying to stop any muscular action that happens naturally and spontaneously. And the Chinese referred to this as energy flow. You're not deliberately doing anything, but things are happening. It's not supposed to be mystical. It's just lungs keep breathing. The muscles in the gut continue to rhythmically move. as does the heart. And it's just the same for being gentle emotional relaxation. So you don't deliberately try and create any emotions. But equally, if you notice any start, might be anything, might be a sense of hope or joy, giggling, might be sadness, despair, any kind of emotion, you don't try and stop it. The Chinese masters would just think of this as energy flow, just energy flowing naturally and spontaneously. And then equally, being gentle mental relaxation just means exactly the same. You don't try and deliberately think of anything. But, and this is very important, you don't try and stop the thoughts that are thinking themselves. There may be loads of thoughts just literally thinking themselves as they wander through your mind. You don't try and stop them. So entering a Qigong state of mind is just being gentle, physical, emotional, and mental relaxation. And standing in this Wuji stance, in that state of mind, allows energy to begin to flow more vigorously and smoothly. And doing that on a regular basis leads to the outcomes of illness not arising, health improving, more vitality, and gently and gradually more clarity of mind. Good. So now, when one ends a practice of Qigong or begins to end a practice of Qigong, you just have a brief and gentle thought of an area of the body that is roughly 2 to 3 inches below the belly button and 2 to 3 inches inside the body. It's just a very brief and gentle thought. That's like dabbing your foot on the brakes in a car. After that, everything, the car would begin to slow down. Just the same with Qigong. Energy just begins to slow down and eventually consolidate in that area. You don't need to do anything though. It's just a natural consequence. Good. I just have another brief, gentle thought of that area, roughly 2 to 3 inches below the belly button and 2 to 3 inches inside the body. And then just rub your hands together. Good. Just rub your face and rub your head. And then just have a walk around. Just have a walk around. So you've all been standing up for a bit. So just come and have a sit down for a moment. I could just peer at people. Just check everyone's doing okay. Yeah, everyone doing okay? Good. So just a reminder of what we're doing here. We're practicing Qigong. What does practicing Qigong mean? It means practicing a set of techniques that develop skills in using energy. The outcomes of that, if you do it on a regular basis, are to get rid of illness. Well, illness, you don't really get rid of illness. You get rid of the conditions that lead to illness. Yeah? So illness stops happening. Improved health, increased vitality, clarity of mind. What does clarity of mind mean? It just means that there are less thoughts thinking themselves. And in Qigong terms, it was considered that also leads to spiritual joys. Yeah. not everybody wants to use that term. So you can kind of think of it as just a kind of lightness of being, if you like, just a lightness of being. Joy happening for no particular reason, that kind of thing. Okay, so what we've got so far, we've got standing in Wuji, entering a Qigong state of mind, and coming to stillness. If you just did that practice, and I can absolutely say this is true because I did it myself, if you did that practice every day for a year, it can have amazing effects. It seems like it's not very much, but really it can have a huge effect, yeah? So if you did nothing else, if you just remembered that, that's worth doing for 5 or 10 minutes a day. That will generate an energy flow and bring it to stillness. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just teach you another little thing that if you add it into the middle of that, you just get a bit of increased flow. It can lead to a, if you like, sometimes a quicker clearing of things. So I'm going to teach you a form, which is a very simple form. It's called Beautiful Butterfly Dances in Front of Flowers. And then we're going to put that in the middle, yeah? But because I'm going to be taking you through it, I just want to explain now. I'll teach you Beautiful Butterfly Dances in Front of Flowers. But then when we put it all together, we're going to be standing in Wuji, entering a Qigong state of mind, a technique called Smale from the heart, and then we'll do about 10 of these movements, yeah? At some point, I will say to you, can make this the last movement, and as your arms come down, then you do your best just to let go. It's going to be about 4 or 5 minutes. What do I mean by let go? Any inhibitions to moving around or giggling or anything like that, just do your best just to drop any inhibitions and just see what happens, yeah? The letting go will last about 4 or 5 minutes, and then we'll come to stillness, and that will be coming towards the end. Okay. So if you want to stand up, I'm going to show you this form, yeah? Do not get over-involved with form. It's the least important part of skillful Qigong. If you look at Rafa Nadal hitting a topspin forehand on the run, it's not any form that you would necessarily teach a beginner at tennis, but he's an incredibly skillful tennis player. So don't worry too much about this form, but the form is really simple. If you watch, I'll just come so you come closer so you can see. We're going to do this. Anyone who's done a lot of movement practice, don't ask yourself too much about how to do this movement, yeah? All we're going to do is we're going to bend forward a little bit, but no further than our knees. We're going to come up, bend back a little bit, and our arms are going to come out to the side. And then as we stand up, the arms are going to come to the side. So we'll just do that together, yeah? So we're going to come forward a little bit. We're going to stand up, and the arms are going to come out to the side. Bend back a little bit, slight pause. Stand up and the arms come to the side. Good. So we'll just do that again. You come forward, but stand up, bend slightly back as the arms come out to the side, and then stand up and the arms come down to the side of your body. So just familiarize yourself. Do 2 or 3, maybe 4 of those. I'm just going to peer at people, just check. No one's doing anything too dangerous. It's very difficult to do anything too dangerous with this. It's good. Just enjoy it. You could even imagine, if you wanted to, but this is not part of it, you could imagine that you were, in fact, a beautiful butterfly dancing in front of flowers. That's not actually part of the exercise. Good. So just do a couple more. Good. And it's a very it's a very gentle movement. It's not jerky or violent in any way. Good. Okay. So if you want to just stand up right now, everyone looks like they've kind of got that. Everyone was doing that fine. So I was just checking. Good. Okay. It's important to realize that's not that important, that movement. It's just a way of getting energy to speed up a little bit more. So we're going to stand in Wuji. We're going to enter a Qigong state of mind. I'll invite you to smile from the heart, and then we're going to do about 10 of those movements. At some point, you don't need to count, I will say, make this the last one, and as you come down to the side, You just let go. If you find yourself wobbling about or giggling or anything like that, or crying even, don't worry about it. That's considered to be energy flow and is a good sign. Then I'll talk you through to the end of the practice. So if you want to stand upright and relaxing in that wuji stance, where your feet are fairly close together, but not jammed together, they're parallel. You're standing broadly upright, huh? Not collapsing, not tensing. Embodying ease is really what it is. The absence of unnecessary tension. Gradually and progressively, there is an increasing absence of unnecessary tension in the body and the mind. But you enjoy wherever you are at the moment in that process. Just being gentle, physical, emotional, and mental relaxation. Which means that you're not doing anything deliberately. You're not initiating anything now, but you're not stopping anything from happening. In Qigong terms, this is called entering a Qigong state of mind. And in a moment, I'm going to invite you to start moving. Don't come out of this state. Don't start then thinking, oh, how do I move? You just allow your body to move in that beautiful butterfly dance in front of flowers movement. At the moment, you're just enjoying Qigong state of mind. I'm going to invite you to imagine now that you knew how to smile from the heart. Just allow yourself just to smile from the heart. Good. And then without even thinking about it, just move into the beautiful butterfly dance in front of flowers movement. Good. So you can come forward and up, slight bend back, stand up and the arms come to the side. Good. Forward, up. Good. And just allow yourself now just to move through that movement. It's a very beautiful movement. There's no tension in it. You don't move any further forward than you need to. There's a gentle bend back. Just enjoy that movement. Good. Good. And just a few more of those movements now. Good. Just enjoying, embodying the ease that comes out of standing in wuji. And now just the effortless flow of energy in the body. The mind has got nothing to do at the moment. Good. Good. And whichever one you're on now, make this the last one. And then as your arms come down to the side, you can just close your eyes and just let go. Just allow yourself just to let go. Just at the level that feels comfortable for you. What does letting go mean? It means gradually and gently shedding the inhibitions that would stop anything from happening just naturally and spontaneously. What might happen naturally and spontaneously? You may just notice a very still quietness. You may notice movement begin to happen in the body. You're not deliberately initiating it, but sometimes movement begins to happen in the body, just natural and spontaneous movement. So just enjoy that. If movement happens naturally and spontaneously in the body, that's energy flow. From a Qigong perspective, that's just energy flowing. If you notice a mild discomfort here or there in your body, then our Sifu invited and encouraged us to just experience that as just energy pushing through an old blockage. Or it may be that there's a part of your body just wants to move, and you've yet to allow it or to rid yourself of any inhibitions. Either way, it doesn't matter. Letting go might also mean that you notice emotions flowing. Maybe that there's just peace, but it may be that there are emotions flowing, maybe even emotions that you don't like very much. But at least just for these few minutes, just allow it to happen naturally and spontaneously. What else might letting go mean? It might mean that you notice thoughts thinking themselves. That might be in the form almost of a narrative or words. Might be in the form of images. Just happening, deliberately doing them. Might be almost body memories. Just thoughts, thinking themselves, smells, ideas, images. You don't need to worry about any of it. It's not happening now, these things. They are the result of energy flowing and just clearing out old, unhelpful processes. So just enjoy it. This is literally embodying ease. The increasing embodying of ease. Good. Just gently letting go. Good. And now what I'm going to invite you to do is to have a brief and gentle of an area of the body. Don't worry about that. Just have a brief and gentle thought of the body that is roughly 2 to 3 inches below the belly button and 2 to 3 inches inside the body, and then just allow your body just to come back gently and gradually to that wuji stance that you began this practice in. It doesn't need to be perfect. But you allow the body just to come back to that uprighting and relaxing stance, where the breath is coming into the nose and out through the open mouth. And at this point, it doesn't matter how much or how little you are aware of your body or your mind. I'm going to invite you at the moment just to begin to enjoy any stillness that you notice. Amongst any movement or noise, just enjoy any stillness that you notice. Maybe physical stillness, maybe emotional stillness, maybe mental stillness. But just enjoy the stillness for a moment. This is the normal and traditional way of beginning to end a Qigong practice. So when you practice on your own, you can stand for a minute or two in stillness. And if you have any just short prayer or thanksgiving that is normal for you, you can do it at this point in your normal practice. And today you can just allow a little gratituding to happen for Paul putting this event together, for all the people through all the ages who've kept these traditions alive, allowing us to practice them today. And then just have a brief and gentle thought of that area of the body again that's roughly 2 to 3 inches below the belly button, 2 to 3 inches inside the body. And then rub your hands together, rub your face and rub your head. Just have a nice walk around, whatever space you've got there. Just have a walk around, just check that you know what your name is still. Yeah? That roughly you know the date, or at least the year anyway is useful. And then you can come and have a seat. Good. Good. Well, I hope that was pleasant. I enjoyed it anyway. So I hope you did too. So just a reminder at the end, yeah. Qigong practice is skill in using energy, yeah. It's got very little to do with form at all. It's about skill. The techniques that we've taught today help you to develop the skill of being able to generate an energy flow. And then in that letting go process, just allow that energy flow just to clear out old unhelpful processes. And then you come to stillness and then you just get on with your day. Obviously, as a practice, it's very useful, increases health, more vitality, more clarity of mind, a kind of lightness of being. But also in all of the little aspects of the practice, you may notice that come into other parts of your life. So you may find you're just using a little less muscular effort to pick a cup up, yeah? It might not seem like very much, but over the course of a day, it's quite surprising how much energy you don't use. Good. Well, I hope that was helpful. I'm not entirely sure how we bring this to an end, but Tim and Paul are more experienced in this, so I'll just invite Tim just to come back in. You know what the time is.
Yeah, thanks very, very much. We'll simply end it by people, we'll come out of it. I've got to do a bit of admin with Paul in a minute to swap over, and then people will sign back in under the same link.